If you've ever felt trapped because of your bad credit, denied for loans, paying sky-high interest rates, or just feeling like you're being judged every time someone checks your credit report, this video is for you. Today I'm going to break down exactly what you need to repair your bad credit, not myths, not some quick fix, not some schemes or scams. We're talking about real legal steps that will work for you. And I'm going to even share my own personal story just in case you are new to my channel, to let you know that I understand completely what you might be going through. So let's start at the beginning. Before you can fix your credit, you have to know what is on your credit reports. What is the mountain, so to speak, that you're going to have to climb. From my experience with helping people with their credit, this is actually one of the first hurdles that we got to help people get over. A lot of people don't want to know what's going on their credit reports. Still to this day, in 2025, it's been the same, where there's certain groups of people who are looking to have their credit repaired, but then when you say, do you know what's actually on your credit reports? They say no. And then there's been some of these free companies that have, popped up, giving people half of the information, like they're going to give you a little bit of it, but they're not going to tell you exactly what you're facing. You have to know exactly what's on your credit reports and who place that information on your credit reports. If you need to get your credit reports, go to www.3scores.com, where you're going to get all 3 credit reports from TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and you'll be able to know exactly what's going on and who placed that information on your credit reports. It will also highlight the charge-offs, the collections, your late payments, any repossessions, any public record. And you're going to want to notate exactly all of the negative information. And you also need to look at the positive credit to make sure that that information is accurate about balances and the payments that you've made. It may not be showing that it's a negative account because you've been paying on it, but you want to make sure that you have all 100% of the credit for any payments that you've made. Also, this is something that happened to me. Years ago, there was an account from Target that was placed on my credit reports, and the information was not negative. Whoever placed it on there used my identity to get that Target card, made the payments, and actually paid it off. But I made sure to let Target know that that was not my account, just in case that person tried to, use that account for whatever reason. So make sure that every account on there is something that you actually applied for, and then especially go through all of the negative information so you can start putting together that strategy that we're going to talk about to get your credit cleaned up. Now, let's talk a little bit about the laws that protect you when it comes to fair credit reporting and fair debt collect. That means that credit bureaus and debt collectors must prove that negative items are accurate and verified. If it can't be proven, it must be deleted. Period. Point blank. Here's what that means. You could dispute inaccurate and unverifiable information. You can demand validation of debts from debt collectors, and you can hold them legally accountable if they violate your rights. This isn't credit magic. It's the law. Most people just don't know how to use it. So now, let me tell you a little bit about my story. Back in 1994, my wife and I found ourselves in debt over $300,000. Now, it was, number one, it was very embarrassing because we had started our first business in 1990 and had built a successful business. And by the time of 1994, just like most people do, we didn't understand credit, we didn't understand debt. We found ourselves $300,000 in debt. $300,000. It did not feel good. I can remember my mom, she saw that our lifestyle had moved up, and I couldn't even send her money when she had went through a tough time because, we just didn't have it. We were in bad shape. And I remember my wife and I had like a family meeting in Christmas of 1994, and we had said that we will be divorced if we keep living this way, because the number one reason that people get divorced is because of financial devastation in the family, financial problems. And so we put together a plan, and we said that number one, our credit was tore up and we were in debt. So we put together a plan to get out of debt, and we put together a plan to repair our credit after we got out of debt. And I could tell you that from that experience, I learned when debt collectors are buying these debts, that they violate our rights, like just across the board. And the reasons why they get away with it is because when you're struggling financially, you really don't understand your rights and don't understand what you need to do and all of that type of stuff. You just basically are trying to get, and just like us, we were trying to get by day to day to try to figure out how we're going to keep a roof over our head, pay the car notes, and what are we going to do about all of these credit cards that we owe? Like, all that's what we're focused on. So when they're sending out the debt collection letters from debt that they've purchased, people don't respond to them. Especially back then, it wasn't as easy as it is right now, and the information wasn't readily available back then. But even to this day, when people get into those debt problems, get very emotional, kind of freeze up, and kind of, you might be arguing with your spouse, and kids are acting up because they're seeing that you're struggling financially. Like, the last thing that people want to really worry about is dealing with these collection letters that are coming in the mail, and that's why we just put them off to the side. But I'm here to tell you what the things that I learned when I was going through my problems with debt and credit is that if you put together a plan and you attack it, no matter what, you're going to be in a better place. You just can't leave it, leave it alone, because it's going to come back. It's not going to go anywhere, and they're going to keep doing what they're doing. So it's always important to, number one, if your credit is messed up, is to start working on it, utilizing the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and utilize the Fair Credit Reporting Act. There's a number of laws that you can utilize to make sure that they're doing the right things when they're putting stuff on your credit report. Okay, now that you've went through the process of dealing with the negative credit information, and you need to go through what's called a rebuilding process. So the next thing is to rebuild your credit. And this is one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have. Some of the times people believe that when their credit is cleaned up, that their scores are going to automatically go up and that their credit is going to be rebuilt automatically. That would work if you have other credit that you had continued to pay on, good credit. But if you went through a devastation like what happened with my wife and I, where you had to just completely start over, got rid of all the credit cards, didn't even keep none of the cards that we did have that were current, we just shut down everything. And that was not a good decision on our part to do that. We later learned that lesson. But what you're going to want to do during the rebuilding process is to, if you can get approved, then get approved for a credit card, because a credit card is going to give you the best boost in your score because it's an unsecured card. But you, depending on your situation, you might have to get a secured card. You might have to use credit builders, such as getting your rent reported if you don't own a home, or getting your cell phone reported, getting your utilities reported. A lot of programs that are out there to help you self-report your payments that you're making. And actually, with the Vantage scores, creditors are now looking at the Vantage scores and the FICO scores to be able to approve you, because they understand that certain payments that people had made, even though they had made them for years, were not getting included in the FICO score. The next thing is, once you get approved, keep that utilization down. Don't make the mistake and get back into trouble again. That was something, a lesson that my wife and I learned. We never did go back to make those same bad mistakes again. Never miss any payments. because once your credit is repaired, your scores could drop a lot more from just missing one payment. You will be penalized a lot harder when your credit is in good shape and you make one mistake. So this is going to be something that you're going to make sure that you keep your eyes on. And then also, you got to be consistent for the rest of your time that you use your credit. You're going to want to make sure that you're consistent with the payments, you're consistent with the utilization, you're consistent with the type of accounts that you add on there, you're consistent with not overusing your credit. This is something that, like, for what you went through was the education on what you need to do the opposite once your credit is back in shape. You need to do the opposite. Everything that got you in trouble, you need to make sure that you stay consistent, keep your eyes on the prize, and do the exact opposite, because that's going to keep you out of trouble. The next thing is you want to make sure that your credit is protected. If you went to the www.your3scores.com, keep that monitoring service, because you're going to get alerts. At the time that I had that Target card put on my credit, at that time I did not have a monitoring service, so I didn't even know what was happening. Now I pay every month to make sure that I know what's going on my credit reports. I want to know if someone tried to put an inquiry on there. I want to know if something changed. I want to know who's looking at my credit reports to try to send me credit offers, even though that doesn't hurt my credit. I just want to know everything about my credit because it's so important. If you heard me say this, I'm going to say it again. People with bad credit pay more for the same things that people with good credit pay for. When you have good credit, it opens the doors. Even if you're not looking at using your credit, it will open doors for you because you're going to be judged based off of your credit. People can't come into your house and see how you're living. So if it's an employee, a business partner, someone for a loan, anything that has to do with trusting you with resources, they can look at your credit reports and make an assessment on how you're managing your own life. And then they'll make that decision based on that. And it may not be fair that they do that, but that's one of the doors that they can look into the way that you're living your life. So now, if you need help with your credit, visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, you can go to summersmaster.com, upload that debt collection letter, and get a exclusive certified debt validation letter so you can stop debt collectors and stop them from hurting your credit. If you have debt collectors who are suing you, original creditors or debt collectors, go to summersmaster.com. You can get a fully formatted response to every allegation and a defense to help you win your case. Thank you for your time. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.